You are listening to the WB Download, coming to you from Wieland Builders Showroom in Studio 1C. We are a podcast centered around building custom homes, the customer experience of building a custom home, and a really entertaining listen from many great guests and interviews that may or may not have anything to do with building. I'm excited to share with you their voice and their stories that will enhance your idea of the custom builder world. Well, hello again, everybody. This is Jeff Wieland with Wieland Builders here on the WB Download. Thank you for tuning in. Today is Tuesday, February 27th. Man, I can't believe the time has gone on so fast. We always say this, the older I get, how quickly time moves, but here we are, nonetheless, rolling right on into March. Thank you again to Pastor Will for coming on here this last time, and I hope everybody enjoyed hearing what he had to say and hearing our conversation. I know it was long, but you can come back and listen to it as much as you want. Just a great mentor of mine, great friend of mine, and can't thank him enough for everything he does and everything he is. Hey, the weather around here, man, we dropped down into some really, really cold temperatures last couple of weeks, got down into the single digits, and then we had some really big snow last week, and now here we are again sitting at 60 degrees. So, bad for the snow plowers and the salters, but good for us because it's warm and it keeps all the positive energy going on around here. So, we've got some things going on around here. We're clearing a large site. We had over, I think, 60 trees that we had to take down on the site in order to get the house in there and the driveway, septic system, and a number of other things that we got going on. We're waiting on some permits for some other ones that we're waiting to get started. And then we got a contract to do today that I'm recording this is, we are doing let me get it out. Contract review. This is the part where we meet with the customer. We've got their final numbers back after we bid it out with our trade partners, and we've got their contract set up. And hey, if they sign it, that's great. What our purpose for this meeting is to review it. I don't want to put pressure on them to sign the contract. I want to make sure that they feel comfortable with everything as we're moving forward. Because it's not like somebody just walks in and goes, "Yeah, we knew. Here you go. Here's $4 million. Let's go ahead and build." It doesn't work that way as much as I wanted to. Out at Homerama, we're finishing drywall and we're laying brick all at the same time. And it's moving right along. I mean, it's awesome. So I don't want to jinx it, but it's looking good. We're going to get a coat of paint on the walls next week and then roll into our finished floors and a couple other things on the inside with that house. It's looking beautiful. It looks awesome. I fall in love with it every time I go out there and really, really excited about it. Another thing we're doing right now is we're preparing for our trade partner breakfast. So every year, and we've done this for like the last 6 or 7 years, is we have an appreciation breakfast for all of our trade partners and our companies. So all of our employees and we invite, usually we have 80 or 90 people that come there. And this, just the whole purpose of this, just say thank you. I say it every year that we get so hung up on the day-to-day as we're talking, we're doing business, we're moving forward, and we don't stop and appreciate each other long enough to just say thank you and thanks for being here. One of the coolest parts about this is we do this at Butler Tech, a vocational school up in Hamilton. And we have the culinary kids make us breakfast, and it is tremendous. It's unbelievable. It's so good. The food is so good, but it's really a cool atmosphere. We get an opportunity to talk to some kids who are going to school there, some graduates who are going to come from there looking for a job. This is the heartbeat of America, where you're going to get some really good kids who are intentionally looking for a job in that field, and so we really appreciate the vocational efforts that go around here in Southwest Ohio. But we appreciate all of our trade partners, and that's what we're doing there. It's so cool to catch up with each one of them. A lot of them have been here for a really, really long time, and I admire that, and I appreciate that. The other thing is we finished up basketball. As you're listening to this, it would have been last week, 2 weeks ago. We finished our season 17-3. So it was really good. It was a little bit heart-wrenching because it was my last season, my last games, my last practices. that we would have with the boys. And some of these kids, I've coached them since they were in second grade. Some of these kids, I coach them in football and basketball. Some of them I coach them in football, basketball, and baseball. And so as I wind down this youth career for my son, it winds down my career, and I always say this: it's coaching is a love that I never knew I had, and so I've really enjoyed it. And it's just kind of tough to watch it go back. But I'm ready to see these kids be coached by somebody else. It's going to be pretty neat to see them roll into their seventh grade year. So as I'm recording this, we have our tournament coming up this weekend, and hopefully we just kick ass in that. I hope that we do, but we'll see how it goes. You never know, because these tournaments we play a lot of teams that we never played in the season. We don't know anything about them. On the farm, we had a new calf there about a week ago, and it's a black cow with a white face, bull calf, and we named him Corey because he was born on my brother-in-law Corey McKinney's birthday. So we named him Corey Calf, Corey Cow, whatever you want to call it, and a good-looking calf, and it's kind of fun to see him running around there. But other than that, everybody's doing good on the farm, and we're rolling. So hey, today our topic is going to be our guest is going to be me. None other than me. And our topics are the wows that we have in these houses. And I want to talk about some high points, some things that we look at, that I look at when we're designing these houses, and look at things that our customers are requesting in these houses and how they incorporate them into their vision, their dreams. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And so one of the big things is we have these first floor bar areas, and it's bringing the entertainment upstairs is what I call it, because so many people think, oh man, we got to finish the basement. We got to finish the basement. Why are you finishing the basement? Well, you got to have a finished basement. So you're finishing it for the sake of trend, and how much do you use it? And what are you going to do with it down there? Now, we still finish 99% of the houses we build. We still finish the basement, no doubt. It's extra living space. It's a lot of space that you need, that you want. And most of them, have bedrooms down the basement. But when we're talking about entertainment, we're bringing it upstairs, because most of the time everybody ends up in the kitchen. But in the last several years, we built several bars on the first floor, whether it's a wet bar, a full-blown bar, a separate bar, whatever it is, it's right there on the first floor, because you're doing most of your entertaining in the kitchen. People are standing around the island. They're going through the great room, but then now you have all of your other entertainment stuff there on the first floor. So most of the time, and we'll get into this also, this is another high point, is opening up those. We have these huge doors that we're putting in in the great room, in the dining room, that open up out to a covered porch. And sometimes it's a screen porch, but it now becomes part of your great room. So now people are flowing in, out, all over the place, and it makes that first floor entertainment really, really cool. So that's a really cool part. I also want to say that on the podcast here and on our website, we will have all these pictures specifically separated for you that show the bars and the things that I'm going to talk about today. And it's just, I was going through them, just preparing my notes for the podcast today. And I'm like, man, I can't believe we built that. That is so cool. So I'm really excited about it for you guys to be able to check it out too, and see what we're talking about. So the other thing is, something I really like to pay attention to is ceilings, is all the ceiling detail that we do. You can spend as much time looking up as you do down, and it'll make your life a lot happier. That's Jeff Wieland, 2024. Spend as much time looking up as you do looking down, and you will be much more happier. When you talk about ceilings, we're talking about details with paints, with beams, with trays, with coffered ceilings, with applied moldings, crisscross beams, crown molding, lighting, cathedral ceilings. All of these things come into play, and you'll hear me say this about the exterior here in a minute, but we believe that you are comfortable in a room and you don't know why. And it could be the temperature, it could be the color of the walls, it could be the height of the ceilings, it could be everything, all of that stuff, how open it is. But these ceilings are something that is it's an attraction that you don't necessarily, it's not looking straight you in the face. So you have to it makes you feel better while you're in a room. All of these beam details, all of these things that go along with these ceilings are specific designs. We even have plans in our plans, we have 3 or 4 pages dedicated specifically to the ceiling, because that's how much detail that we're putting in these houses. The coffered ceiling can be built out of drywall, can be built out of wood. I like them out of wood, make them look old school. You can stain them to make it really look old school. You can put applied moldings inside each one of the coffers. And the same thing with the beams. You'll see on our website, we've got a couple of different great rooms that have some beams. We've got a dining room that has some beams in it. And then we put this rough sawn shiplap in between each one of them. And it just makes it look really, really cool. The ceiling in my bedroom at home has shiplap on it. We did shiplap on the ceiling of the cathedral ceiling in 2018 Home Rama, and it had some beams that went in between it. Just so many different details. Another thing that we do, we used to go crazy with these beams and just do some really awesome stuff, cool woodworking. And now what we're doing is we're opening up the end of the gable areas with the cathedral on it, putting these trapezoidal windows in there. And we don't want to block all that light with these beams. So we're putting what we call flush beams up against the ceiling, or we're doing a little scissor cross at the top of the cathedral. And it's still allowing your eyes to see through that light and allow that light to come into the room. So the beams, the woodworking has the detail is not as much, but it's still present. But in that, you're opening up that light up into that second floor area. So ceilings are a huge part of what we do. And you can separate a room, and we open these floor plans up so much today. In the house that I grew up in, there was walls everywhere, and you walk through doorways to get to the next room. Now we spend more money on beams and LVLs and microlams and everything, because you're opening the walls up so much that even on a 2-story, you want as much openness on the first floor. Well, then you have to learn to separate these rooms somehow or another. So you're separating with furniture. Most of the time, the flooring is all the same flooring in these areas. So you're separating with furniture. You're separating with the ceiling also. So take a look at our website and see. We do tray ceilings in the kitchen above the island. We're doing some really, really cool stuff in the foyers, which is something I really enjoy, because the great room's a given. I mean, you're always going to do something in a great room for the most part. But all those other areas, it comes unexpected. Cathedral ceilings in the bathrooms and in the owner's suite, not the master bedroom. The owner's suite is really cool. There's just so many different things we can do that add to it that make it really cool. One of the highlights that I love about our homes, and I focus on this quite a bit, is the stairwell. And the stairwell is in a production style house, the stairwell becomes wasted space. It's an area that you don't want to calculate as square footage, and it becomes downplayed, and they're 3 foot wide, they're hidden, or they got carpet on them. And for me, I want to open these bad boys up. I want it to look old school. When you think about Gone with the Wind, when you walk into the front of that house, it had these huge spiral staircases going all the way around there, and or curved staircases. It's the entrance. It's the coolest thing ever. So let's continue to do that in these houses now. Make them wider. Make yourself feel comfortable, inviting yourself to go up to the second floor, inviting yourself to go down to the lower level. Don't hide them. Make them grand as much as you can. It's an accessible feature. So what I mean by that is it's a feature that in your home that you're going to use every day, probably, as opposed to some of the other things that are features in your house that, it's there, it looks good, but you're not really using it. So I want stained wood tones on the stairs. You can paint the newel post. You can paint the railings. You can paint the spindles. You can use the wrought iron spindles, the hollow iron spindles. You can do all the kinds of different things. It's something to get really excited about, and it's almost like a whole day can be spent on this to say, what do I want this to look like? Don't make them straight. Curve them, turn them, go up to a couple different landings. But the other thing I like to do is I like to be able to stand on the top floor and look all the way down to the basement with these stairs and see them going around and around. That's old school, if you ask me. And one of the coolest pictures that you can see is if you go to our Millard Fillmore home, the 2020 Home Rama home that we built. It was a 5-story kind of row house, brownstone looking house down on a river. And we've got a shot of standing up there on the top floor and looking all the way down to the basement. It's like 52 feet down to the bottom, and those stairs turned and turned and turned, and it was really, really cool. So it's I want to bring that up because we're putting these in the front of the house. We're putting windows in these stairwells, where you can see the stairwell from the street, which I think is just cool. I mean, I think it's really, really cool. But I want to do something always with these stairwells and making them pretty cool. And I keep saying cool. What's cool to me may not be cool to somebody else, but you're listening to me talk, so you have to just pay attention to what I think is cool. So exteriors. Let's talk about exteriors. So it's really difficult to understand what you like about the outside of a house, or what you like about a house in general, and what you don't like about it. You might just be looking at it going, man, that house is ugly. And what's ugly about it? Is it the brick that they chose? Is it the pitch of the roof? Is it just a bad, they let all their grass die? What was it just a bad design? What was it? And I can sit there and look at the house, and I can tell you what the problems are with it. And 9 times out of 10, it's the pitch of the roof. Most of the time, it's selections. I mean, they tried to do their Pinterest selections on their own, and they wanted stone, and they wanted metal, and they wanted brick, and they wanted hardy, and they wanted stucco. And all of a sudden, you got 19 different surfaces on the exterior of the house, and you're like, look what I did. I'm like, yeah, don't ever do that again. You shouldn't do that. They got stone hanging off of a gable that has no base to it, going all the way down to the foundation. All of these things are really, really important to take into consideration when you're designing the exterior of this home. It starts with a vision. It starts with a really good architect that wouldn't do that kind of crap. And there's a lot of things that I think that our customers, when we're doing it, they just expect. I mean, it's not like it's like something you have to worry about. It's just like it's going to look good. So we talked about this in our Builder 20 group. There's so many things that we do in these houses that we're like, is anybody selling this? And everybody's going, we don't really sell it. We just include it because people expect that out of us. This exterior elevation is really, really important. So, I don't want to pick on the ones that I don't like. I like to pick on the things that I do like. But again, we're talking about why do you like this? And it could be the color of it. It's the same thing as why you feel comfortable in a room. Is it the temperature? Is it the ceiling height? Is it the materials? Is it the company? Whatever it is. So I think that, one of the things on the brick that I really like is I like a tumbled queen brick that the mortar joint meanders. So it's not just perfectly straight. It's usually a grapevine, which is a mortar joint that has a tool joint that has a little groove in it. And when the guys are running out across there, they get sloppy with the mortar and just let it kind of roll. I love that. I think it's really old school. It's not for every single house because everything has a look and has a specific design that you're looking for. But even on our Homerama house, that's got a queen tumbled brick with a sloppy mortar joint, and then we're going to paint it. And the brick is really cool looking, but then we're going to paint it. And also the stone. I don't want a standard stone. I don't want to be using the same stone on my house that you see on a production style house. The stone has to wrap corners and come back and return to a wall, or at least return 2 feet going down another wall. You don't just stop it at the corner. That's cheap and basically looks like somebody doesn't know what they're doing. The same thing with the brick. You can't just slap brick up in certain areas and think that it's going to look good. Ugly brick will ruin that house, and a horrible bricklayer will ruin that house because they don't. Brick is fired, and I could get into this and go on a tangent if you want, but brick is fired in a kiln, and it's set up in the cube exactly how it's supposed to be laid. And if you ever tour a brick factory, if you ever go to a brick lot, they'll have all kinds of sample boards laid up to make sure that this brick is laid up in a certain way. It's got different colors in it, and it's not supposed to have 15 black ones and then a couple red ones and a couple gray ones. It's supposed to be scattered out, and it's burnt that way. It's kiln drying that way. So you have to make sure that the bricklayer understands that. And can't tiles the same way. There's another number of things that are the same way that you can't just grab it and start laying it, and it makes a difference on how it looks. Hardy plank siding and how far if you're doing a vertical hardy, how far are you spacing the slats? If you're doing a horizontal hardy, are you doing an 8-inch exposed, 7.25-inch exposed, 6-inch exposed? All of these things take effect on what this place looks like. Are you looking, first of all, you have to understand, are you looking for contemporary, traditional, neo-traditional? What look are you going for? Country, farmhouse, southern living? There's a number of different things you can do. And if you don't have that vision and that direction in mind, you're going to get screwed up and it's going to look bad. So to go off on a tangent, there's columns, there's wood columns, there's stone columns, there's brick columns, there's front porches. Front porches are huge. There's some front porches that are just stoops. This is, again, on that vision, that direction that you're heading towards. The stamped concrete, the colors, everything. That the front door is the focal point of the front area. And is that a grand entrance? Is that a grand front door, or is it hidden? Is it off to the side and the front porch covers that whole thing up? What is your focal point that you're looking for on the front of this house? I'd say the number one thing for me is when I look at it, the pitch of the roof and then our detail to trim. So when we come down off of down to the eaves, we do a gutter board, we do a soffit, and then we do a freeze board. Our soffits are at minimum 1 foot deep. Whereas a lot of people are doing a 6-inch soffit. Some people are doing no soffit. And again, that becomes a direction on the look you're going for. Sometimes it calls for that for no soffit. I hate that look, but it's what you can do. So there's so many different ways that you can make this thing look tasteful, classy, rich, purposeful, cool, attractive. It's just so many different things you can do, but you gotta make sure you got the right builder, the right designer, the right, when I say designer, architect, and the right designer as far as picking your colors and your materials that you're using on the outside. So here's another thing that we're talking about a lot is bringing the outside in, the inside out. And this goes along with outdoor living and how we're living in these homes. And so, in a great room, we'll put this big 16-foot wide Pella sliding glass door unit in there. And this is a door unit that has 2 openings in the middle of it. It's 4-foot openings apiece, and they pull apart and they'll make an 8-foot opening. They have screens on them if you want them to, but most of the time this is going out to a covered porch or a screened in porch. And when you have, moderate weather like today, or in the spring, or even sometimes in the summer evenings, you open this thing up and now you've got 2 family rooms. Your kitchen is flowing in and out. You're entertaining, even if you're, and I keep thinking about entertainment because I think about when you're using this space with a lot of people in it. But the other thing to consider is when it's just you. When it's just you and your family, are you living in this space? Are you relaxing? Are you enjoying this space as much as you would when you're entertaining? Are you as proud of it as much as you would be when you're entertaining? And for me, I think I feel that way in my own home. I feel comfortable. I want to utilize it. I want to be out there. I can't tell you how many times I've come home from work late and have gone out on the back porch and just fell asleep on the couch on the back porch. I love it out there. And this is something that's really important to think about, because you don't have to max out square footage on the first floor if you plan on living in that exterior space. And I look at it like a circle, this kitchen, great room, outdoor covered porch, open porch, coming back in through the dining room, this big area that you're going to use 99% of the time. Is what you're going to be doing there. So I think that's really cool. So that leads me into, that's one of the high points. Is the next one is the outdoor living area. So we have large front porches, large rear porches, screened in. Sometimes we put automatic screens on there, which are the screens where you push a button, then they go up, and it opens up the outside where you don't need the screens. Covered porches are, again, this is one of those things where people just expect that to be in one of our houses. It's not like, you want a covered porch? I don't know. No, it's covered. There's always a covered porch. What we're really contemplating is how much area do we want that's not covered? Because you have a grill. You have areas where you want to lay out in the sun. You want to enjoy the sun. You want to get out from underneath the cover. So it's always a given that it's covered. And then we start contemplating how much uncovered space do we want. Outdoor kitchens, which are really outdoor grilling areas. Some of these we do that are extravagant. We got more money in the grills and the side burners and the ice boxes and all of the stuff that goes out there than we do in the kitchen, because you plan on being out there a lot and entertaining a lot. In our 2014 home Rama house, we cut a big green egg into the countertop out there, and even during the show, we were out there smoking I think a pork butt, and it was really, really cool. So we design all this stuff on how you want to live, how you can see yourself living. But those outdoor living areas are really cool. Another thing we do is we put a lot of pools in. We don't put a lot of pools in. The customer puts a pool in while we're building the house, because I hate dealing with these pools companies, but we're dealing with it because when you're done with it, I want you guys to be able to move into these houses and not have to deal with everything. Okay, well, we're in. Now we got another 6 months of work to do. We don't want that. So go ahead and put the pool in. But now the lower level or the first floor, depending on if it's a walkout or not, we're doing pool baths, which is a whole nother mudroom changing area. We're putting a washer and dryer in that area. We're putting a full bathroom with a shower. Sometimes we're putting a steam shower in there. And now it's creating this, it's a spa, so to speak, in your own home. It is just a simple space in the basement with a pool out back. So it's outdoor living like that. So it's the exterior living rooms, the pool areas, the uncovered areas, patios, decks, porches, all of those things are really becoming an area of interest because people are coming home and enjoying their house outside of their house. But bring the outside in, the inside out. That's what I always say, because that's how you're going to be living in this house. So here's a big one. And this is another big topic, is our pantries. And this is a whole new ball of toys here. The pantry has always been part of the kitchen. Now it seems to be something that's almost is equal to the kitchen. So it used to be part of the kitchen. Now it's equal to the kitchen, similar in size, similar in space, similar in use. We have as much expense and as much cabinetry in the pantry as we do on the perimeter of the kitchen anymore. Countertops and people are putting small appliances back there. People are putting large appliances back there. There's almost always a refrigerator in there. There's almost always a microwave back there. But if you're like my wife, she wants nothing on the countertops whatsoever. So it has to be, it can be on a countertop, but it has to be hidden, or it's in the pantry. And that's how we live. That's how the majority of our customers are living. There's hidden pantries. So we make it part of the cabinetry, and you would never know there was a pantry back there. In one house, they had an old door from an old house that didn't have the glass in between all the grids, but we put that door on that pantry, and it's just the coolest thing ever. And you walk back into this pantry, and it's like another kitchen. It's got a sink and another refrigerator and all sorts of things back there. So it's, like I said, it's always been there, but now it's more pronounced. Now it's a big part of the plans and a big part of the house. Awesome space there. So let's talk about one of the things that we talk about a lot is my vision for this house. When I'm looking at this house and I'm designing the house with the customers, I'm thinking about what I'd like to see in it, because I'm hoping that they want my input on this thing, because that's why they hired us. But I think about what I like to see and what they're telling me. And one of the things I always pay attention to is, if I walk up to the front door of this house and we open the door, you open the door and invite me in, I gasp. It's open, it's welcoming. It's not like the front door is down this hallway and it's stuck down there and there's coats and boots and stuff hanging all over the place. No, it's part of the house. And so you open this thing up, and I can look from the front door out the back of the house through all this glass. I can see this beautiful view that is happening off your back porch. I can see maybe you have a pool back there. Maybe there's trees. Maybe there's nothing. But I can see this openness in this house. I can see the kitchen probably. There's so many cool things that you can do. But that's one of the biggest visions that I can tell you that I want in this house. The stairwell, as you look up, you can see up to almost up, standing at the front door, you can see up to the second floor. You can see down to the lower level. It's just really open, really inviting, really welcoming, and really, really calm. So it's an immediate gratification, immediate joy. And this is something that all the time when I think about showing this house off to friends or family or having a party, are you as proud of the house when you're there by yourself as you are when you have those people over? Are you as comfortable in that house then as when you have people over? And some people are very uncomfortable when they have people over. But the reason I say that is because all of these things start from the beginning. How are you going to enjoy this place? How are you going to rush to get home from work to enjoy your house? Are you going to want to do that? And I think you should, and because if you don't, if you're driving home from work going, oh, I got to go to that dump again, that's not good. And we have failed miserably at what we've set out to do, if you feel that way. So hey, these are the hot topics for what we've got going on in our homes. These are the things we pay attention to. These are the things that people are really looking forward to, that we're talking about a lot in designing our homes. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope you please check out our website. Check out the links that you'll have on the podcast website to be able to see these pictures and understand what I'm talking about. And hopefully you can scroll through while I'm talking about these things on the podcast. So, hey, thanks again for everybody for listening. Thanks for always being here every week. And again, I want to say thank you to Pastor Will for being here last week. It was just really an honor. Pastor Will be at the breakfast, at the trade breakfast, the appreciation trade breakfast. He comes out. I said, you want to say anything? He said, no, I just want to come out and support you. So it's really kind of cool that he'll be there. But he's part of this team and really helps us do a lot of different things. So don't forget to subscribe to the WB Download on your favorite podcast service, wherever you get your podcast nerds at. Make sure you like it, you make it a favorite, you share it with friends if you feel like it's helpful, and hopefully we grow our network. Don't forget, we come out on the second and fourth Tuesdays of every month. And if you want to be a part of the conversation, reach out to me at wbdownload@wielandbuilders.com. That's WIELAND builders.com. And check us out on our website at wielandbuilders.com. WIELAND builders.com. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. So thanks again, everybody. We will see you next time, or we will talk to you next time here on the WB Download. I'm Jeff Wieland.